Alright, here we go. Need to figure out who is and isn't available to go. Although we've got 19 people today. Still the only person not actually joining us. 19 people on the grid. Couple of new guys too. Bazal and Redstone Derp. Bazal is not a new guy to me in terms of commentating. I have in fact spent a few races commentating on Bazal before. But we'll keep it going as we go through. Just a quick mic check. Can people hear me? Okay, yeah. Hopefully everyone can hear me. Just trying to figure out whether or not... Yeah, right, Rigo can... Okay. It's just that it's not popping up on the actual stream for me. That's why it was a bit confusing. But, yeah. So we should have 19. Probably the first time I've not been able to hear myself on a live stream before. Rigo, race. You can't get sent any worse than you got sent by Hype on Thursday night. Me of all people should know. Well, it's not my fault. You got absolutely, to quote unquote, Milty for a minute here. You got DRS chicken by Heights in midweek. But yeah, going to the US. 18 minutes of qualifying. There is a possibility of rain here. It's not a very high one, admittedly. Finally, the stream link went in. So yeah, continue on. Okay. he doesn't want to race. To be fair, there was not a lot he did wrong on Thursday night Hyped. There's like 90% of the time I don't want to compliment Hyped's goals, especially his dive bombs. There's a lot of things that could happen as a result of a Hyped's goals dive bomb. But I don't think he did a lot wrong on Thursday night, especially when I went into comms watching with Mitchell and Milty. Turned into Hype's goal stream basically after that point. Yeah, Trems did. To be fair, this was all before I actually went into the comms stream myself, so I can't comment about anything before lap 7. It looked like Stegger's the first one out. So I got a new mic this week. Don't know if people can tell the difference. But, yeah. We got to stick it out first. Those people who know, watch this stream before, or watched a stream of mine before, we watch the guy's first out lap, and then followed by the flying lap, provided they're first over the line. We have seen people spin on out laps before, and yeah, it is as funny as it seems. But for now, Steger's going to be the first one out. He's currently about halfway through a lap, heading down the back straight at Texas. Middle of the second sector. About to head to the end of the second sector of that. And you got, who else is out as well? You got Tepos out behind Steger here. You've got both the Aston Martins, Joe and Jack. The next two cars on the grid. I think Bloodwave is also out on track right now. Bloodwave being what I think the one going down the straight, but trying to fight an Aston Martin there for position by the looks of things. Not entirely sure why. You should have more than enough space on a quali lap round here. Here comes Steger's actual lap now then. He goes around the double right-hander, sorry, and followed by the little 90-degree left, and then another 90-degree left to the start of the lap, and here we go. Steger's going to be the first one over the line to try and set a lap. He's going to be all the way up into 7th and then 8th gear by the time you head up the hill here at Kota, and gets all the way down to 3rd gear, gets up toward the apex. It's not wide, so it's a decent first corner. Now you've got to go through the S's at Kota, and yeah, they're not the greatest thing in the world. It's not like Suzuka's S's that makes sense. Here comes Steger, who keeps it valid. It actually looked like he kept it pretty nice through there as well, as we go up the hill now to I think that's Williams or an Alpine that's decided he didn't like the track. As we head into the middle of the second sector now, and now we get into the hairpin before the long straight here at Kota. We see a lot of overtakes happening here. We saw on Thursday night where this was just the dive bomb central at the end of this. Maybe it'll be something similar at the end of the, in the middle of the race tonight, but for now, no one should be anywhere near each other. It's qualifying, and here comes the end of the second sector here for Steger, 102.2. See if Steger is able to put a decent lap time together. I'm not entirely sure what a decent lap time looks like around here. Race wasn't really focusing on that, and qualifying was wet in tier 2 on Thursday night. It looked like Steger now, one more corner left before he hits the line. One more corner, he gets round, keeps it valid. He's going to set himself the first time at 32.6. 32.6, if I remember right, one of the times that was said to me earlier on was a 31.6. Maybe an entire second quicker than that by the end of this. The current time, 32.5 there for Joe. Next to the line. Doesn't look like the guy next to the line is actually able to sort his lap out. It looked like Tepos has gone into the pits. Who is the Mercedes to the line? Bloodwave, 32.8. And it looked Red Bulls coming on out laps, and Daxi doing a 32.5 as well. Williams to the line, Elite Spectres a 32.7. Ferrari next to the line. Derp invalidated his lap, which means we'll watch Millsy as he is about to go over the line. He's doing a 33.9 at the moment. That's not great from him. McLaren's next to go over the line. Big Turns 34.5. Caesar. I think Caesar invalidated. Caesar did invalidate. What's going on here for Yalo? The Alfa Romeo not actually doing much on a lap right now. Stable 32.9. It looked like Baraka might be out on an outlap at the moment. Oh, that's a bit deep. Actually, it's a flying lap. It's a 32.3 there for Baraka. I think he's got a couple attempts, especially in that final corner. Baraka, BR4 to the line, 32.305, 300ths of a second quicker than Baraka. Last time I checked, I'm pretty sure Baraka is in fact the championship leader. Just going to quickly take a gloss over that and see if That is true. It looks like Boba's the next one to the line. Boba, 33.6. Not really a lot going on for Boba here. Currently, looking over the pre-Canada, the race standings, championship standing at the moment. It's 1 point splitting Baraka and Mitchell at the current time. Next guy on 44, so it is a championship fight between Mitchell and Baraka, and that is about it. Mitchell is 32.562, and well, third through sixth, they're all split by basically nothing. Redstone is not enjoying this track. Like Yarlow over the line now as well. Yarlow up into 10th, 33.4. He probably thinks he could do better than that. Redstone into the pits now. Who is the next one on a lap? I don't know if Caesar is. Caesar 34.2, so I assume Caesar has backed out. He's also not using any ERS whatsoever, so I assume, yep, this is an in-lap. It'll be the same for Boba and same for Yarlow too. Mitchell and BR4 also out on outlaps, so that means I don't think we have anyone left on track on actual laps. So we've got Tepos on an outlap, so I guess we will go to him for a while. Also a two-way battle in the constructors, Haas versus Red Bull. Tepos helping Baraka a little bit more than Daxy's helping Mitchell. Mitchell's helping Mitchell, shall I say. It looks like Tepos is now on actual lap. A few of the other guys starting to filter back out of the pits as well. Looks like Tepos going through the first sector, manages to keep it valid for the moment. It doesn't look like the cleanest it could have been though. 25.2 in the first sector here for Tepos. 24 low is apparently going to be what you need for a pole time lap here. A few guys out the pits. Yeah, we've got a bunch of people out the pits now. 6 people out on laps, whether they be out laps or not. I think we just had a 7th that came out as well, one of the Aston Martins, and a few more filtering out the pits as we go along. Here comes Tepos down the long straight into the end of sector 2, gets into second gear in the 90, well, more than 90 degree left-hand turn, almost a hairpin at that point. It doesn't look like Tepos is doing anything to set the world alight here. You're going through the third sector now, just needs to keep a lap valid more than anything else at the moment. Obviously the Haas cars donning the American flag. Right now it's BR4, however, of AlphaTauri that sits himself on top of qualifying right now. And Tepos at 33.4, which is only good enough for 11th. Who is the next one to the line? I think it's Steger, and it is Steger, so we will watch another Steger lap until we see whether or not he is improving, and then possibly shift our focus in the direction of an Aston Martin. And here comes Steger now over the line, up the hill. See if he can nail the first corner, see if he can gain any time on what he did the first time round. I'm assuming track temperature just going down a little bit. All the greyish clouds on the track right now. It's extremely overcast. Steger coming up to the end of the first sector is quicker. 25.1. I'm not sure if that's quite the quickest first sector despite the game saying so. 25.1 right now. It was quicker than Tepos. It's quicker than his prior lap as well. Let's see what he can do through the middle of sector 2 then. This sector is mainly just how much downforce you have on this car. Too much is going to hamper you in this part of the track, probably help you in sector 3 as we come up to it now. Steger goes over the end of the line for sector 2. He is currently 0.066 up on his lap. Someone needs to get out of the way. I think that's Mitchell that needs to get out of the way, and he does so kindly. Steger going through the final sector of this lap now. He is half a tenth up on his lap time right now. It's not enough to bring him into a 32.5 even, which means he won't move anywhere other than 7th if he doesn't improve the third sector. He's going to go around the final corner now, and that third sector is improved, but it's only enough to, well, it's only a tenth, and that's only enough to keep him 7th. Mitchell just ahead of him by 5,000ths of a second. Here comes, I think that's Jack's on the natural lap. Joe's invalidated his lap. Daxi coming up to the line now as well. Daxi's on a natural lap, so Daxi's the next one we will watch over the line. I think Yarlo may or may not have just sorted himself out there. Here comes a Mercedes, the next one to the line then. Here comes Bloodwave, currently 4 tenths. It is 6 tenths of a second quicker than his prior lap, and Bloodwave is on a 32.2. And that puts him on provisional pole. Redstone 32.5, another one to add to the collection in this qualifying session so far. Boba's just gone on an outlap, finished his outlap. I think Big Turns and Caesar are about to do the same, so we are going to Staber, who has invalidated his lap, which means we are back off to BR4. BR4 through the final corner immediately removes Bloodwave's chance at a provisional pole or even an actual pole by the end of the session. Bloodwave 31.9. Boba's out of the session entirely. Who is the next one to the line? Baraka going through. Actually, Baraka's 2 tenths of a second up right now, but by the looks of it, he had to pit. Yep, Baraka is going into pit. Mitchell to the line is 4 tenths quicker, and that moves him up to second. He is now 2 tenths, well, less than 2 tenths behind BR4 at the top of the leaderboard right now. Yarlo, I believe, is the next one over the line. Yarlo to the 32.9, and that moves him up to 12th. Probably wants a little bit better than that, given his last couple of appearances. Oh, yellow flag in the middle sector, and that is a Ferrari, but which Ferrari is it? It's Redstone. Redstone has put himself, well, it looked like into a wall, even or around nonetheless, so he's caused himself a bit of a problem here. Mercedes getting out of the way very quickly in the the middle of the third sector. Here comes Bazel's first laps as an ALR driver in Tier 1. Let's see what he can do in this Tier 1 in this Tier 1 session. I'm expecting big things from him. He can be quick when he puts his mind to it. 25.3, however, it's at least 2 tenths slower than Steger. And Steger is currently 10th in the standings at the moment. As Bazel's going to go down toward the hairpin now through the long straight. There's his Alpine car now heading down the back straight toward the end of Sector 2. And it doesn't look like an awful lot's going on here. Everyone's started to filter back into the pits after their laps. It looked like Bazel's now going through the end of the second sector, a 2-3. That, I don't think was the quickest second sector, but it might put him into contention at the least of a top 10. As we watch him through the final sector now, one of the Aston Martins, I think that was Joe, just getting out of the way. Caesar also on a lap. We'll go to Caesar afterwards as we watch Bazel go through the second to last. Now he's going to go through the last corner as well. And what time is he going to put up on his first lap? It's a 32.7, and that is only good enough for 12th. We're going to watch Caesar, as Caesar is nowhere to be found right now. And which means we are going to go back. I'll watch Joe go through his lap, as he has only just started his. So we'll get to see realistically what is going on from Joe's perspective here as he goes through the S's. He keeps it valid into the end of the first sector, 25.1. Currently 0.03 of a second quicker than his prior lap. That will move him a singular position. Baraka needs to get something going, and I think Joe has had to back out, and Joe has backed out. Who is the next one to the line then? trying to figure out who the next one to the line is. I think it's West London. Yeah, West London is the next one to the line, and we'll watch his, I assume, first and only lap of the session. We got people filtering out the pits like there's no tomorrow now. Only 2 more left in the pits. Cedar and, well, obviously Boba. Boba is out though. As we watch, we watch West London, go through the first sector and now through the second sector. That didn't look the most comfortable on the exit there, and he has invalidated his lap. Hello, Saeed. And there is a Cedar's out, Bardell's out. And Cedar, I think Cedar just left the session. Someone just left the session in the process. So, who are we looking at in terms of times here? Joe's looking to set up a lap. So is Jack. I don't know who we are watching in terms of laps right now. Redstone also on a lap. Redstone currently 2/10 quicker than his prior lap. Staber on... I think we're pretty much set in terms of who's out actually on laps now. Everyone going through one by one. We're going to currently watch Redstone, and he's going to be the first one over the line here. Very clearly not going to get a second chance at this, so he's going to make this one count. Even though he's about to hit every single piece of traffic he probably wanted to avoid. You got 5 cars waiting up on each other through the middle of the third sector. You got Redstone going through the end of the second sector now. He is actually losing time in the second sector. He's currently a 10th up. It's not enough to move him anything in terms of position. He will be routed to 6th place right now if he can't find some time in this third sector. He needs to find some and find some quickly, as we see a bunch of basically everyone getting in the way of each other. And it looks like, oh, the Merc! Oh, and the Merc is going to get called! The Merc is going to get called for blocking! Oh, what are you doing? Oh! And there's your, well, there's 10 seconds. That is a slam dunk penalty, that one. Joe's qualifying it over. He won't end above Redstone. Here comes Jack as he goes to the line, but he is going into the pits, and no one seems to be improving at the end of this session. West London without a lap. Big Turn's out of the session as well, which means I think it's Baraka. No, it's not the Baraka, the next one. It's Tepos, the next one to the line. He'll actually go over and try and finish a lap. He doesn't look too confident on the outside there. Who's the next one? It's Elite, who's invalidated lap. Joe is out of time. He's going to go into the pits, and now we're into the next Mercedes. It looks like, yeah, Bloodwave's the next one to the line. Bloodwave's invalidated, so Bloodwave isn't going to be able to improve either. I think Baraka's the next one to the line. He is half a second up at the moment. Is this enough? Is he going to make it another one? He is not! He is not! He is not quicker than BR4 in the USA! Here at Texas, Mitchell improves. Mitchell beats out Baraka in the qualifying session. Daxi is out of time as well. Staber up to 10th. We are officially done for the session, I think. Mildy had damage probably from the incident. He also didn't have anything to go by. Wow. So BR4 on pole, Mitchell sits himself on the front row with him, and Mitchell would love this to end this way. He would retake the lead back on the championship. 1 point split. The Red Bull of Mitchell and the Haas of Baraka at the moment. BR4, well, he needs about 50 points advantage on the other two, so he's got a long way to go. It probably would start. It looks like Mildy is trying to explain away what he did. I have that one as clear as day. You aren't avoiding that one, Mildy. You aren't getting away with that one, Milty. You've got a penalty certainly in your direction for that. Redstone was a 10.5 up. It would only have got him up ahead of Steger, who had actually managed to get 7th. So, BR4 from Mitchell, from Baraka and Bloodwave. Bloodwave on the second row. That's pretty good for him. He's not really had the greatest of seasons. Daxi and Caesar on the third row. Daxi needs to help Mitchell get to that Constructors' Championship. He needs to do something today. You got Caesar, well, you got Steger and Redstone. They sit themselves on the fourth row. As we head towards the actual race itself, which is going to be overcast as well. But looks like we've got a couple of, well, maybe a minute or so before we get going properly. Just seeing the GT drivers rip into each other. They're doing a little bit of practice for their race on their race tomorrow night. You'll see those maybe as post-coms throughout the week if you haven't already. But we're waiting for some people to choose a strategy, maybe for some people to load in too. As it looks like we're about to go for a formation lap. 28 laps. That's the that's essentially the distance we're going today. 28 laps around Kota. And it looks like we are very split. We have 6 people on those hard tyres, those white-walled hard tyres. And the rest start on the mediums. Some may be going from medium to soft, some may be going from medium to hard. Some may play it by safety car, but we'll wait and see. As we go along, BR4, one of the ones on mediums, the front row on mediums, the second row on hard, the third and the fourth row, all on mediums too. Joe starts 9th, he's on the medium tyre. Staber starts 10th on the 5th row, he's on the hard, so it's the first set of differing opinions on from drivers starting on the same row. And you got Jack and Spectre on the 6th row there, both starting on the hard tyres. Brazil and Yarlo on the 7th row, both starting on the mediums. Tepos and Milsey splitting strategy as well. And you got Boba, Big Turns, West London all on the medium tyres. So the real question is, how does this play out? How does strategy play out? How does the safety cars play out? How does the actual driving itself play out? BR4 looks in very strong contention, given how that qualifying went. I think him and, well, even Baraka wasn't firing all cylinders by his own standards. I think he would probably not be too happy with that qualifying session. He currently sits in 3rd. He has to go against Mitchell now. Bearing in mind that in order to stay in front of Mitchell, he has to actually beat him. And where you guys saying, I wonder what screws BR4 over today? Well, we're about to find out. It's like a little bit like watching a Ferrari at this point when it comes to BR4. In what way are you going to get screwed next? Your Bloodwave, oh my god, that voice break. Bloodwave and Baraka lining up behind. Bloodwave rear and BR4. That would be what? The 3rd time this season? I feel like that at that point has to become personal. Like that actually has to be a somewhat serious penalty. Tepos disqualified from the grid position. Here we go. There's 4, 5 red lights. And it's Lights on, away we go. It looks like BR4 is off to a lightning start. Mitchell is not, and Mitchell is now being swallowed up by Bloodwave and by Baraka as well, who stayed to the outside. That's probably wise of him, and we've got a little bit of incidents going through the middle of the field. Steger's been unfortunately tapped. He's lost a few positions. Redstone's gone past Daxi as Daxi drops to 6th. It looks like, oh, that's a Ferrari. That's a Ferrari taking the gravel on the outside there. He's Staber dropping all the way down. We've got a yellow flag, sector 1, and that is a Haas, and that is going to be perfect if you're Red Bull in terms of constructors fighting. Here comes Seether on the inside of Baraka, and these two have been fighting before, mainly Vegas. You saw the end of that race, and it looks like Seether might be about to pull one over again on Baraka. He's done one and done it in Vegas, albeit by literally 200ths of a second. But he pulled one over on him there, and he might be about to pull one over on him again now. And it looks like Redstone might be going for this too, if I can get a somewhat decent camera angle of the two going side by side. And Redstone's on the inside, and Redstone's gone past Baraka as well, and Baraka's tumbling down the order. Not as bad as Bazel's gone down the order, though. He has gone wide. He is off the track entirely. And now it's him and Tepos at the back, the only two that's actually spun. Baraka's losing all sorts of places right now. There's hard not firing on all cylinders at the beginning of this race. BR4 8/10 of a second ahead of Mitchell. Mitchell probably will take this by the end of the day. Don't think he could really ask for an awful lot more. Staber's come into the pit. Something must have happened to him when we saw him go onto the gravel into the first sector. I'd definitely say Baraka is not a minute and a half ahead of Joe, and Joe's not a minute and a half behind Baraka. It looks like everyone's still quite close together as we go probably first through 12th all together. Baraka needs to start working his way back through the field after that horrendous start. It looks like Redstone looking at Seether. Redstone definitely looking to continue what he was trying to do in qualifying anyway. Into the actual race itself, because he's started like a house on fire today. Bloodwave out of the DRS range of Mitchell and BR4 already, and the two at the front may be gone before this even starts. You see in the front, there's Mitchell and BR4 and then nobody else. Bloodwave 1.3 seconds further back, needs to get his foot on the gas. He needs to do it rather quickly, otherwise this could become ugly very quickly. But it doesn't look like Redstone's going to find it. Also, doesn't look like Redstone's going to find a way past Seether. Seether also looks to go past Bloodwave. And these two on the medium tyres probably need to get past Bloodwave in order to make this count. We've got a very close-knit next 7 after the leaders of this race. Looks like Williams having a little bit of an off corner there, going a bit deep. Losing all the time now out of DRS range. The DRS should now be activated. Certainly will be by the time we hit the back straight. BR4 hasn't broke the DRS on Mitchell, so those two will get closer and closer as we go along. Yalo got past Elite as we went through turn 1, and Elite might be susceptible to big turns here. Blocks it off, closes the door, whatever expression you want to say. Elite does it well. It doesn't look like there's going to be an awful lot here for big turns to try and exploit as they go through the second sector now. This is a picture-perfect day right now for Red Bull as they try to fight their way back into this Constructors battle. They're currently about 20-ish points, maybe just about 25 actually, behind Haas in the lead. But Tepos has spun off the start, and it doesn't look like Baraka's got off firing at all. Redstone right beside Seether. Redstone on the inside. Redstone's going to go down the inside. It was late, but he's got it nonetheless, and he's made it work. Seether now very much in the grasp of Baraka behind him, and it's not a place you want to be. Redstone does very well down the straight there. There you go. Redstone now has the opportunity to go after Bloodwave. Someone needs to do it. Bloodwave right now holding his own in third. He's on the hard tires, and the longer he stays third, the better it is for him. Redstone's going to have DRS, obviously. He's going to break it within half a second. I don't think he gets close enough by any sort of margin as they go up the hill. He doesn't. Just going to have to sit behind Bloodwave for a little bit longer. And Caesar still there and thereabouts as well. Baraka closing in on Caesar. Caesar obviously didn't have the greatest turn one of his life. When you're fighting someone like Baraka, you need to have the greatest sector one of your life. Otherwise, Baraka's going to eat you alive. And it looks like this might be what's about to happen to Caesar. Caesar, well, he will get DRS on Redstone. There's not a question of that. Yellow flag in Sector 2. Yellow flag in Sector 2. Who's gone off? Not entirely sure. Maybe it's just a slowed down car. Maybe a mistake or two. But it's opened the gap now. Jack is definitely away from the rest of the pack. The pack's starting to open up a little bit here. Redstone goes past Bloodwave. That's pretty nice down the straight. Gets the use of DRS, and Bloodwave is, well, Bloodwave was just a sitting duck. And as we go along, I think Bloodwave might turn into an even bigger sitting duck with the two behind him. Jack gets past Boba. Robert holds his position against Boba until now, and looks like Boba might be about to fight him back. They're going to go side by side. Jack gets all over the place out the corner. Boba's going to go the long way round, and Jack closes the door very abruptly on him. And he does it again. Boba's just going to have to sit behind him for a little bit longer. I don't think it'll be that much longer, though. Is he going to look to the inside here, and wise to stay out of it. Just use the DRS down the straight. That's all you should do here. And Jack picks up 3 seconds and then gets the worst corner exit I've ever seen. And there you go, that's Boba. Boba not really hindered an awful lot, especially down that straight there. It was inevitable he got him, it's just a case of when. Also, Caesar is frantically holding on from Baraka here. I don't think Caesar's got an awful lot left in the tank against the Haas. We'll wait and see as we go along. Millsy's out! Millsy is out, and I think that might be our first safety car. Wow. Wow indeed. There is nothing happening there, and Millsy's obviously gone off at a different point where it doesn't have to bring out a car. And there goes Baraka on the inside of Caesar, and I was alluding to this the entire way through. However, Baraka gets an awful exit. A little bit shaky. It almost goes directly into a battle, and we've got flying bits of car. I'm not sure whose car that comes off. I think it's the AlphaTauri, but I'm not entirely sure. Caesar loses out to Baraka in the end after those two go contact the entire way through the beginning of the third sector. It was not pretty by any means from both of them going through. Who is the one that goes into the pits? It's actually an Aston Martin front wing that we saw come off in the process. So Caesar overtaken by Baraka, probably not the cleanest way possible by either driver as they go through the third sector. And then, well, it caused the incident behind. Daxi, I'm pretty sure, was involved. Same with Steger and definitely Joe, the guys trying to close up to these two that we're currently watching. These three that we're currently watching. Getting caught up in the crossfire. It looks like Yala is also going after Daxi with quite a vengeance here. But for now, we will watch Bloodwave versus Redstone. Redstone has a little sizable lead right now. It's about 0.5 of a second. DRS should be able to bring Bloodwave close enough. Don't think it brings him close enough for an overtake. Well, actually, I might be wrong. Here comes Bloodwave, who's got alongside and is actually in front by the time the corner even hits. Yalo gets past Daxi at the same time. That was inevitable. As we watch the car of four, the train of 4 cars literally on the back of each other, right behind us. Also, Redstone almost took advantage of incredibly poor an incredibly poor exit there by Bloodwave, and has just slid the car a little bit. It looks like Bloodwave's going to hold on against Redstone for now. Also, Baraka starting to fight its way back through the pack, maybe a bit too late. And that's crazy to say, even though we're only on lap 7 of this race. And here comes Redstone looking for a way past Bloodwave, does not get it. Maybe on the switchback, again, doesn't get it either. And Baraka also looking, doesn't get that, as I think Yalo had an awful exit, and Caesar able to capitalize and gains half a second on Yalo immediately. Daxi also trying to look to capitalize too, but he's just arrived on the scene at the wrong time. We're going to head towards the middle of Sector 2 now. Redstone, Bloodwave, Baraka, those are the three fighting for the final step of the podium at the moment. You've got a four-way fight behind them as well, and if Stega can catch up a little bit more, it might turn into a seven-way battle for the final step of the podium. And here comes Redstone on the inside with the DRS again, and we're just going to be trading positions all night, aren't we? There you go. Bloodwave overtaken by Redstone yet again. Redstone trying to put himself on the podium. I'm pretty sure this is his first race in the server. So it would be extremely good for him to put himself on the podium. Maybe look for a best of the rest title by the end of this. Maybe even to establish himself as what we call the Big Five. It looks like right now it doesn't look like an awful lot going through between this fight. The fight behind also separated quite a decent chunk in the process of the last half a lap. I think Bazal's just gone past Jack, and Bazal has gone past Jack, and he's done that with the use of DRS before turn one even hits. Jack having a bit of a problem right now. He's also got 3 seconds worth of track limit penalties, so his race almost looks in trouble already. We go back toward the front of the group. BR4 1.6 seconds ahead of Mitchell, 5 seconds ahead. Well, Mitchell a further 5 seconds ahead of Redstone, who's currently in third. BR4 is going to get him, not BR4, Bloodway's going to get himself some DRS alongside his ERS here, but so will Baraka. We know about Baraka's pace as a whole. It hasn't translated to this track in any sort of margin yet. Bloodwave trying to look to the inside of Redstone very quickly there, but doesn't see anything facilitate. Oh, it looks like Bloodwave is having a bit of a mess. The car jumping around a little bit, especially on the rear out of the, well, in the beginning of Sector 3. This may open the door for Baraka more than it does open the door for Bloodwave against Redstone, as we watch these guys go through the end of Sector 3 now. 2 corners left on the lap. We'll head into lap 9. BR4 still in the lead. Now has a 2-second gap over Mitchell. Mitchell not having the greatest of lap himself. And then you've got Redstone 4.8. Gains about 0.3 of a second on what Mitchell was. And he's actually cleared Bloodwave a little bit here. Not enough. But here comes Baraka on the inside of Bloodwave. Baraka on the inside of the Mercedes. And they've come together. And Baraka takes the lead. Takes the lead of this battle. Baraka into 4th place now. I'm so used to Baraka being in the fight for the lead that I just instinctively said that, but I kind of saved myself on the way through. And Bazal picked up 3 seconds in his fight against Jack, so mute point at the moment. If he can get himself ahead of big turns, then that might become a problem later on. The bottom 9, top 8 have managed to get themselves within DRS of everyone else, and then the rest of the group are all separated by quite some distance. First 2 obviously away as well. Now back to 5 seconds, the gap between Mitchell and Redstone, 2nd and 3rd. Baraka's got to try and get something done here. He's got to try and work his way back toward those 2, because bearing in mind, as long as Mitchell beats Baraka, Mitchell will head back to the top of the championship after 6. Bearing in mind, it's a 14 race championship. We're not halfway. Brazil next week marks the halfway mark. It'll be pretty interesting as we go through. We got a virtual safety car. We've got a virtual safety car for no front wing on the Aston Martin. No front wing on the Aston Martin. Jack has crashed. Daxi and Yolo into pit. That doesn't. I don't blame them at all. They have been. Well, they've got the perfect time here. They've lost considerably less than they probably would have regarded them elsewhere, and I would have gone into the hards, especially from here. Some of the guys, and we're back going again. Wow. Didn't take an awful lot of time. Yolo is by far the biggest beneficiary of that, and Jack's out of the session. Jack is out of the session, we're down 2. Bazal and West London pit on this lap 2. They don't get the full benefit of any real benefit of that virtual safety car. But Jack is out of the session entirely. 2.6 between BR4 and Mitchell, forever 3.5. Redstone's on fire right now, as he is trying to break himself away from Baraka, and not really able to do it just yet, but he has 7/10 of a second, and sometimes that's about all you need on Baraka. Baraka is obviously going to be that one that manages to stay there as we go along. As long as you can manage the gap to him, should realistically be fine. Bloodwave's starting to drop off a little bit. Pretty much identical distances between either side of Baraka. Steger also trying to put himself into this conversation, even though I'm pretty sure he picked up a warning not that long ago. So he might be riding a fine line for the rest of the race. It looks like Baraka is losing time rather than gaining it on Redstone. Redstone having a nice time right now, as he looks to cement himself pretty nicely onto a podium here. If he can get a podium here, maybe there's bright things ahead for him. He had a good qualifying as well, but rudely ended. Millsy, and then to carry that over until next week. And Baraka's closing in time on Redstone now, about 2/10 gained. Lost it all through that bit, through the beginning of the second sector though. That's Redstone now up to 7/10 again, but doesn't get an awful lot out of that corner, and certainly having better exits than he has entries, that's for sure, and that can only bode well right now for Redstone. Probably needs to fix the entrance to a corner or two, but he's doing effective work right now to hold off Baraka, even though they're on different tyres. 10 lap mediums for Redstone, 10 lap hards for Baraka at the moment. That gap will, that difference in tyre will probably catch up to Redstone in the end, but I think he can be proud of the first 11 laps. It looks like Bazal's going after Staber. Oh, Staber's crashed! Staber's crashed! I am not sure what the hell's happened there, but that probably spelled the end of Staber's race. Staber doesn't have front wing damage, but if he doesn't have rear wing damage, I'd be extremely surprised. That rear wing took a fucking battering into the wall there. As we watch West London just chalk the time down. Also, very quickly as they go through, actually they were going through the second sector, so Redstone manages to hang on for a split second longer. I say a split second longer because they're about to go down the straight, which means Baraka has DRS, and this should be easy work for the current championship leader. And it is. Baraka definitely gets that position. Baraka up into third. And that will keep the championship tight between the two of them. 25, 18, 15, remember, the first three. The points total for the first three. Baraka picks up the fastest lap. It'll go from 1 point in the favour of Baraka to 1 point in favour of Mitchell. And through 6 races, I couldn't be asking for much closer of a title fight if I tried. I just want this title fight to go into race 14. Give me something to talk about on the very final day of the season. Right now, Redstone, Redstone all out of sorts. Redstone does not have the DRS. Well, he does have DRS, but he won't be able to have it for much longer. as Baraka is flying, and Redstone's managed to use that DRS, a little bit of DRS he's managed to gain on Baraka, to open himself a reasonable sized gap to Bloodwave behind him now. He needed that because he was starting to look a little out of shape. It looked like Daxi also trying to go after Yarlo as we go along. Bearing in mind, Yarlo and Daxi have pit. And these guys, unless they get a safety car, they haven't. And they will lose a substantial amount of time compared to them when they do go to pit. That virtual safety car will play into Yarlo and Daxi's hands right now. I'm pretty sure that probably makes them in the top... possibly top 5 at the very least. Here comes Bloodwave on Redstone. Bloodwave has 3 seconds for track limits though, as Bloodwave goes by and Redstone drops to 5th. Maybe those medium tyres are slowly dropping off as we go along. Those hard tyres right now is see Yarlo past Boba. And Yarlo is... I've been very complimentary of Yarlo so far, especially since week 4. Especially since Vegas. He has not put a foot wrong the entire time since that race. Or since the start of that race even. And here comes BR4. BR4 now into the pits. Mitchell joins him. Baraka won't join him. Baraka will take the lead of the race for the moment in time. Bloodwave also stays out. Redstone stays out too. And I think Steger's going to stay out with the 3 in front of him. Caesar also goes into pit. Elite on the hard tyres will definitely stay out. So where does Yarlo come out in perspective against these two? The actual question is Yarlo comes out in 2nd place. Yarlo and the timing on that virtual safety car. Yarlo is in for a very good racer now. Daxi also ahead of his teammate. So Yarlo and Daxi are now 2nd and 3rd in this race. Mitchell is down to 4th. Which means we look at 25, 18, 15, 12, and then 10. Which means if Baraka... I don't think that'll be enough for Mitchell. Well, actually, on countback, Mitchell would still probably take the lead of the championship. But it'd be by the finest of margins. But this is about as good of a day as you could ask for if you're Red Bull in terms of the Constructors' Championship right now. As Elite goes past, BR4 goes past Elite, but Elite's run out of that corner was incredible. Looked for the switchback. Can he still get it? He got the inside line, but BR4 just a little bit overpowering. Just a little bit too much in the end. Elite almost had defense of the season there. That run was almost as poetic as physically possible. Stagger now into the pits. And is Elite coming in? Elite is coming in. Redstone stayed out. He's currently 4 tenths on the back of Bloodwave, who's lost all the time in the world to Barak, who's needed the clean air, realistically. So, as it stands, BR4, Yarlo, Daxi and Mitchell, they all set to inherit the first 4 positions. It'll be Baraka, Bloodwave and Redstone following the back of them. Unless the undercut turns out to be powerful and Steger might be able to jump a couple of places too. Boba's still got a pit. Redstone, Bloodwave, Baraka's still got a pit. So does Tepos, but Tepos just come in for his stop now. I think it was 26 points before the start of play in terms of the Constructors' battle, but today might be huge in terms of the Constructors' battle. Because they're essentially 2v1 in Baraka right now. And what has been happening to Mitchell for the rest of the season, up to this point, it's now starting to flip a little bit in terms of that driving for that Constructors. I'm interested to see when other people come in and what we're looking at in terms of positioning. BR4 only 1.8 seconds ahead of Yarlo right now. Yarlo 1.8 seconds ahead of Daxi, who's just getting closed down by his teammate, and I assume if it comes to a point where Daxi and Mitchell get close enough to each other that their teammates' orders will ensue and Mitchell will take that place. Baraka is now in the pits. So, how many people go past that Haas? It's 36-0 for BR4. There goes BR4 past the Haas. There goes Yarlow past the Haas. There goes both Red Bulls past that Haas. Mitchell will probably be hoping for a buffer of maybe 1 or 2 cars that split them. He's not going to get that. Boba's going to be splitting the 2 right now, but unfortunately for Mitchell, Boba has to pit. Daxi picks up 3 seconds, so if I'm Daxi, I'm getting out of the way. As soon as I physically can, get out of the way of your teammate. I'm not usually one to advocate for team orders here, but mate, you're gonna have to. I can just hear Mitchell in the back of that car right now screaming at his teammate just to move the hell over. Mitchell's gonna get the DRS, and he's gonna get by. Nice little switch, albeit I don't think it was much of a switch, but an actual overtake. Mitchell needs to start heading towards Yarlow now. The good news for Mitchell is that Daxi is now the car buffer that split Baraka and himself. Baraka currently about 4.5, maybe just shy of 5 seconds. Right behind Mitchell. We've got about 12-ish, maybe a little bit more laps of this race to go. Bloodwave stays out. Will Redstone go in? Redstone does not go in, so Redstone is doing the medium-soft strategy. Let's see how that one plays out for him. Here comes BR4, 2.5 seconds off the back of these 2. Bearing in mind, these 2 still have to pit. Steger goes past Boba as well, and Boba now goes into the pit, so Steger now can focus on that Haas in front of him. Mitchell right now needs to close in on Yarlow. The yellow flag in sector 3. Yellow flag in sector 3. And we have a virtual safety car. I think that's Big Turns, who's not got a front wing. Redstone's out. Redstone's out. Redstone is out of the race. His car is in a heap there. And maybe that medium soft attempt was not the right call. His tyres giving way in the end. Into the wall goes Redstone, and what was looking an extremely promising race at the end of this has just turned into misery. Virtual safety car. It's not going to help anyone. No one has to pit. Well, no one unless your name is Bloodwave. And we have a full-blown safety car. Oh, indeed. The virtual safety car would have made strategy interesting had it lasted a long enough time to get round to the pit lane. A full-blown safety car is not good news for some of the people in this race. Unless your name is Baraka, it probably isn't good news, full stop. Yarlow was hoping just to keep it going. He was fine as it was. Yarlow was set for a top 3 finish, maybe a top 4 at absolute most. And now, well, in comes Bloodwave, in comes BR4, in comes Yarlow. He follows in, Mitchell follows in. Redstone has left the session now. Daxi now follows in, Baraka follows in. I assume everyone's going to soft. Unless, Bloodwave's gone on to medium tight. He might live to regret that one. BR4 onto soft, Mitchell onto soft, Yarlow onto mediums, Baraka going in onto the red soft tyres as well, Daxi onto mediums, Caesar onto mediums, Basil is going onto the red striped soft tyres. He's losing out to Joe, and Joe's going into the pits now, and Basil's up to 8th. That had a blinder of a stop here, of his time here. Boba stopped the lap before. He jumps out, well, he's into 7th properly now. He's only on 1 lap older soft, so whilst he's probably a little bit slower than the guys on the soft, he's probably a little bit quicker than the guys on the mediums. Daxi has 3 seconds directly in front of him. And what was going to be an extremely good day for the Red Bull team in terms of constructors may or may have not just fallen apart. And now not gaining an awful lot on Baraka. I'll close the gap a little bit, and it won't be an awful lot. It gives Tefos A lifeline after a bad day, especially bad day at the office. Redstone out of the race, the third one out, causes the safety car, which means we're down 3. Start with 19, we have 16 left. Tepos tail of the back of the field. Staber still in it too. Big Turns West London both have penalties, so that'll open opportunities for the two in the last couple of places. Well, Lee, Joe, Steger all thinking they could do a little bit of point snatching by the end of this one. But now it's 3 seconds, he's going to have to open a gap or two. So does Dacty. Bloodwave, however, now has net P1 in this race. But once again, he's on the worst tyre. The softs only have to go, what, essentially 8, 9 laps? It did 9 laps. Be a proper bin jelly bang. Fair enough. We've got everything's just changed. Yarlow had hit the nail on the head today as well. Again, for strategy, he is in a stride right now. Maybe the safety car's about to knock him out of it. We're going to get ready to go on lap 20 of 28. Everyone back close together. All the gaps we had about a lap or two ago all disappeared. Bloodwave does have a 3-second time penalty, remember. So whilst he has net actual P1 for the moment in time, he's going to have to break some distance. And he's going to have to do it. Yeah, Staver's still into the points after pitting every other lap. That is rather impressive. How do... No. not showing warnings. I would, but I believe there is still a glitch in this game, which means if I go into director mode, it will kill my game. It was definitely still there at the end of last game. I don't know if they patched it for this one, and I'm not really keen of finding out. So unless I find someone else, yeah, it's still there. Had a funny feeling. I would show warnings, Darren, but there's no way to feasibly do that and commentate on a race, so not with the game in its current state, especially for spectators. So I know you're trying to feed in some information, you're not really going to be able to do so. If you're trying to feed information in for Mitchell, well, there's a few guys in here that Mitchell should be able to do his number on Yarlow. Mitchell should probably get within that 3-second gap of Bloodwave, but BR4 probably the hard one to catch here. Here we go. Here we go. We're going to go now. Here comes Bloodwave out the final corner. You have to go at some point, mate. And there you go. We've gone now. I'm not entirely sure what took so long. He didn't catch anyone by surprise. I'm not sure what the plan was here. And here goes BR4 down into turn 1. And oh, BR4's gone wide. BR4 had an opportunity. He still has the opportunity down the inside here. And they're going to go too wide through the first set of S's. And BR4 snatches first place in the race. I have no idea what the hell Bloodwave was thinking. You go before that corner, not after that corner. Especially not when you have someone as attentive as BR4 right behind you. Then a yellow flag, and it's Tepos again. And the bad day for Haas just continues to get worse. And Daxi versus Baraka there, and it's also Mitchell versus Yarlow. Mitchell with the battle against Yarlow. Made Daxi get on alongside Yarlow here too, and he needs to get alongside Yarlow if he's going to protect himself from Baraka. He doesn't get alongside Yarlow, and now Baraka's going to go for the inside, and Baraka is going to get that inside. Or is he? Daxi has held on. Daxi has held on. very nicely on the inside of the following corner, but it isn't going to last very long. West London picks up 3 seconds, and again, the inside line for Baraka gives him the opportunity. His exits are just not getting the deal done. You've got battles behind Basil versus Joe. Those two are going to go side by side. You've also got the AlphaTauri Stega looking to try and involve himself in this somehow. Also got Boba and Elite trying to involve themselves in the battle here too. No penalties back here. So we're actually fighting for position. Joe versus Basil. These two going at into turn 1. Basil's got too much on the inside, and Joe should be able to have this one on the inside of turn 2. And he is. He's got enough of an exit. Enough of a window, enough of an opportunity, enough of an overtake. We've got people flying all over the place, and I think West London's crashed! West London has crashed! There's no front wing on the front of that McLaren either! And it might have been big turns of West London that came together. And they're going to lose all the positions now, and they not going to gain anything from this whatsoever. Bloodway still has his 3-second time penalty. BR4 comfortably in the lead of this race. Mitchell able to do a number as well, might be able to do a number sooner rather than later as well. Yarlow doing a fantastic job in 4th as he holds off Daxi, and Daxi doing a better job of holding off Baraka. Baraka has just not been able to get going in this race whatsoever. Mitchell might need to go and buy his teammate a present after this one. Look at this, it's still just nothing here for Baraka. And Mitchell is going to take the lead of the championship at the end of this one at this rate. Mitchell's going to end second, second after penalties as it stands. Bloodwave, however, has broken the DRS on that car. Those softs are not working as well as Mitchell would hope they would. And the 1.1 second gap now sits between Bloodwave and Mitchell. Mitchell needs to break within that DRS gap if he wants to try and even remotely go after BR4. 5 seconds for West London for speed in the pit lane. Him and Big Turns are both retired from the race, which means Caesar's going to gain a position or two. And also Staber up to 13th too, as Staber pits and now in last of the actual people who survived this race so far. We're down 5, we're on lap 22, and we've got a long way to go. Bloodwave has got right back up to the back of BR4 here, and maybe the medium tyres were the better choice after all. Daxi also surviving just a little bit against Baraka here. A little bit under the cosh. He might be about to make Yarlow go under the cosh as Daxi goes up the inside into the end of sector 2 and should be able to hold that overtake. Yarlow looked to the inside, to the outside of the following corner for a split second and not able to do it. And here comes Baraka on the inside of Yarlow. And again, just the inside line does not provide a good enough exit for Baraka to get anything done at all. Daxi has 3 seconds, so it's not going to matter an awful lot in the end. He's going to jump probably all the way down to 8th. And, well, he's off. He's certainly opened the gap for Mitchell. Mitchell could not have asked for a better time on the safety car restart, apart from doing it in, well, out of his control than what he's got. And Baraka on the inside of turn 1 on Yarlow. And, yeah, Baraka definitely needed to do that. Baraka needed something to go his way this race, and the move on Yarlow he had to make. He's going to get Daxi, obviously, because of penalties regardless. So it's all about, can Daxi hold off Baraka from Mitchell now? Caesar set it's the fastest lap of the race so far, which means Baraka probably isn't getting that point. Mitchell set to pick up, well, as we are on lap 23 anyway, set to pick up 18 points on the race. Isn't really holding to Bloodwave and or BR4 whatsoever. He's driving in his own little world right now, but he's not really doing anything at all. Bloodwave closing the gap quite rapidly here on BR4. The only problem for Bloodwave is his time penalty. He's rather shot himself in the foot here. He really had a chance of winning this race, especially after that safety car. That safety car swung things in his favor. It's not really able Oh, he might be able to beat BR4 on track. He certainly isn't beating BR4 with the penalty. BR4 has had this one dead to right the entire way through. And it looked like no one's really set to challenge him. And Mitchell is only well right now, 2 seconds behind Bloodwave, 2 seconds in front of Daxi. He's still holding off Baraka as we go along. Albeit Watt won't be on track. Won't be after penalties, but I don't think Daxi is caring an awful lot about that right now. Just has a job to do for his teammate at the very least. Staber picks up 3 seconds as he is right at the back of the grid. Got a battle going through the entire way of the grid here. Especially through 4th through, well, what's that, 10th? 4th through 10th still fighting their way through. Which means Daxi is definitely going to end 8th. Bazell and Boba going to end 9th and 10th as it stands. Here comes Bloodwave. He's got DRS. He's looking to retake the lead of this race. He's going to go down the inside of BR4 here. And he is going to have the lead of this race. Down into the end of Sector 2 on lap 24. He needs to break the DRS. He needs to do it quickly as Baraka also gets past Daxi. Daxi had the inside line for the following corner. Daxi's got to hold on just a little bit longer. Not this time. Not this time at all. Baraka. And Baraka goes deep. And Baraka almost threw away the overtake. But he manages to get it done. And now 2.4 seconds behind. Mitchell has a long way to go. Bear in mind, this is for who takes the championship lead out of round 6 and into Brazil next week. Daxi's still hanging in there. He's still got his penalty though, so not an awful lot he can do at this point in time. Mitchell opening the gap a little bit here to Baraka. It's now 2.3 seconds, but he's also been opened the gap on by BR4. That's also split on about 2.3, 2.2 seconds too. BR4 not really hanging with Bloodwave right now. Bloodwave 7/10 of a second in the lead. If Bloodwave can break this DRS, Bloodwave might have a chance. We are on lap 25. Steger picks up 3, so that's an extra position for Daxi. Is there a shot that Bloodwave breaks the DRS? I don't think there is, and the longer we go, I think it's more likely BR4 might be making a move to the inside here. He's going to try it, and he gets it to the inside. In the beginning of Sector 2, Bloodwave has no switchback opportunity, and BR4 hits the front of the race yet again. All the chances that BR4, well, Bloodwave needed to try and break that DRS, it didn't come to fruition, and that probably sealed the fate on this race, provided there isn't a BR4 mistake. We've said it also, we said it today earlier on, is there a way where BR4 gets screwed out of this one? Well, it's happened twice before in this scenario where BR4 has been directly in front of Bloodwave and Bloodwave brings about the end of BR4's race. It's happened twice. It happened first race at Spa, happened at Vegas 2. Are we about to see a three-peat? It doesn't look likely. It looked like Bloodwave has actually learned how to drive on the back of BR4 for once. Elite picks up 3. And that is definitely condemning him to a life of 11th place. Daxi definitely going to end himself in 7th. He needs to pray that he can break a little bit of a gap to Yalo here. Maybe open the door to get Joe as well, and then 6th, but he certainly isn't getting any higher than that. Bloodwave still within a shot. Steger gets past Bazal. There's still a shot here. Here comes Bloodwave again. Looks to the inside. Looks to the inside of BR4. Still on the inside of BR4. He's actually in front of BR4 and gets that position back. We're on lap 26, so we're trading positions like they're going out of fashion. 3 seconds for Caesar. He is actually at the back of the grid right now. Him and Staber both picked up 3. BR4 looked to try and make something work on the inside of Bloodwave there. Doesn't work. Mitchell 1.9 seconds ahead behind BR4 and 1.5 ahead of Baraka. Mitchell is being hunted down right now with just over 2 laps to go. We are heading into lap 27. He needs to hold about 7/10 of a second a lap. Baraka is flying, but is he flying enough to keep his lead of the championship? It's going to be close. Red Bull's had a day in terms of the constructors. That was 26 points, I'm pretty sure, going into this one. It won't be 26 coming out. It'll be, what, 3 plus Daxi's points. It'll be 13 cut down, so half the gap by the end of this one. Unless Baraka is able to make something happen here. BR4 still within 6/10 of a second here on Bloodwave, and that is going to be chunked down as they go into the long straight. Here comes BR4 again. We're on lap 27. I don't think... Well, right now, Bloodwave doesn't even have enough to end in the top... Well, in the top 2. Even though he's been fighting the entire time, his penalty is just... the ball in his own foot. He shot himself in the foot with that penalty. He shot any chance he had of winning the race in the foot with that penalty. BR4 not able to make the move there. It's 2.5 seconds splitting Bloodwave and Mitchell. It's now, yeah, it's sticking to around that 2.5 second mark. Baraka just shy of 4 seconds behind Bloodwave, so he won't gain a position. He'll have to settle for 4th right now. Daxi probably going to be able to break the chance on Joe, and we go into lap 28 of 28. Mitchell 1.1, so he held, well, Baraka closed by 3, not by 7, which means that Baraka is running out of time. Baraka is running out of time as we go along. Mitchell 2 seconds behind, 2.6 seconds behind Bloodwave. Is Bloodwave going to be able to snatch it right at the end? BR4 is going to win this race. Unless BR4 makes a mistake in the rest of the lap that we have. BR4 will get DRS. It's 0.8 of a second splitting those two. And right now, it's about 3 seconds. Thereabouts, maybe 2.9. Splitting Mitchell and Bloodwave, and that is going to be an extremely close battle for second place of this race. And Bloodwave gets past the most dangerous part of this track, left, and BR4 is more than willing just to sit behind. Baraka joins to about 7/10 of a second behind Mitchell, but I think Baraka has left it too little too late, and quite frankly, on track, BR4 has been troubled. But we've all known from, well, the word go, that BR4 has not been screwed out of it this time. There is no mistake in the second to last. There is no mistake in the final corner. As he goes around the final corner, and he wins in Texas. And Mitchell holds on just about by less than 1/10 of a second on Bloodwave as he gets second, and he gets the championship lead back going into Brazil next week. BR4 does not get screwed over this time. BR4 has managed to take himself onto the top step of the podium. Once and for all, it's only taken him 6 chances, and it's only taken him till the second race in the USA here in the league to finally win one. Mitchell takes back the lead of the championship. Bloodwave gets 3rd. He had a pretty decent race himself. The safety car swung it back in his favour. Baraka ends in 4th, and quite frankly, until he hits the end of the race there, just never got going. And that means that Mitchell, 18 points to Baraka's 12, takes the lead of the race, the lead of the championship by 5. Unless there's penalties and such to come. So, Yalo gets 5th in the end. Yalo did another great race. The virtual safety car decision would have been absolutely on point had the safety car not come out moments later. Daxi up into 6 as well, as Daxi will enjoy that one. It's been a great day for the Red Bull team. Joe gets 7th, Bazal gets 8th, Stega 9th, Boba 10th, Elite 11th, Tepos gets 12th, and not an awful lot happening for him. Caesar gets 13th, Staber gets 14th for that. Rounds out everyone that manages to finish the race, 5 DNFs as we go along. And wow, after all that, BR4 closes in a little bit, but just a little bit. Albeit he had 44, he had about 50 points to gain. It's probably a good start, but it's only 7. As he wins his first race of the season, he has to make momentum count now. But until then, I'm going to end it there in a bit.